yearbook committee really is out of control at this point.
He's unbothered.
The call is coming from inside the house. I got injected with silicone hanging out with trans women. Most trans people do not want to transition kids because most trans people know how difficult of a road that is. I started going to gay bars when I was 16 years old. Who do you think I was dating? They don't even know what technically got injected into my face. What's up, everybody? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. Before we get started, I'm just going to ask that you like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to comment just to help me on the algorithm, but you don't know what to comment, just go ahead and put a knife. Because you know they're going to come after my neck. Especially because I really do want to call out the fact that I figured it out. The problem is the LGBTQ community is really being run by geeks. True, 100% unadulterated nerds! 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 Are running
the 2S LGBTQIA+ community.
And that's why these kinds of things are happening. Constantly, LGBT people, or let's be very clear, it's the 2S LGBT+ community. But the problem with the 2S LGBTQ community is they're being run by, even though I put it in the most superficial way when I say geeks, really what I mean is the people that really are the most hurt, the most damaged. And when you come from that perspective and not a perspective of being healed on any level, there's no way that you're not going to get results like what we're all seeing right now. Because when you hear the community talk about the fact that this is a genocide on trans and LGBT people, the fact of the matter is there was no point in World War II where the Jews were taunting the Nazis by saying exactly what it was that would feed into the narrative. And that's why when people compare this, I always remind them, if it were a genocide, you wouldn't be treating it like a joke. You wouldn't be trolling people. You don't feed the opposition with ammo that they can use to make their point when it comes to reasons that you shouldn't have particular rights, or so that they can ensure that certain pieces of legislation get passed based on the way that they're able to edit this together. They're always going to be able to do that to some degree. And that's something that's always been done. And it's done on both sides. But still, you keep trying to shock people into doing what it is you want them to do. And it's just not going to work. When it comes to the word transphobic, that's the other thing you guys try to do, is you try to act like if you call them transphobic or a bigot, that they're suddenly going to come to their senses and see things your way. That's not working. It hasn't been working, but you still keep doing it. So trying to shock them by, we're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children. Why would you think that that's something that's okay to say, especially when the narrative that LGBT people are groomers and files really is being pushed, and you're making it seem like what they're saying is correct? Giving them footage of a drag march where it does look like the worst parts of the community. So when you have people defending that and not coming out and saying, hey, this is bad strategy, this makes us look bad, please stop doing that. Those people are not people that I would ever want to be associated with. Even if that's a joke, that's not people that I want to be associated with in any way. They're not part of my movement. They're not part of my community. I'll be very vocal about that the same way that they would be vocal about that with me. Instead of saying that, people are like, well, this is why they do it, and this is the reason. And no matter what, they're going to try to make us seem like we're files and groomers, and that is not true. A lot of people do not think that of LGB people. In a lot of cases, they only think that of trans people because transgender people really have pushed the let's start transing the kids at an early age, the don't assume your kid is straight, and it's just not gonna get you what you want or what you think it is you want. It's not having the desired effect, and you don't even realize realize or care that you're making it easier for people like Marjorie Taylor Greene to pass things like the Protect Children's Innocence Act, which, if you're not familiar, is a bill that would make it a felony to inform minors about gender-affirming care or make it easier for them to access such treatments. So, if you're making it easier for people like her to do that by what you think is a joke or what you think is a real life troll move through a gay pride parade, and then when she's actually getting that passed, you're going to want people like me to march. I'm not joining you for the march because I don't think that the march ever should have happened, because I don't think you should have given them the ammo in the first place that let them get as far as they've been able to get by using our own words and our own chants and our own events against us. I'm going to leave that to you and be like, no, the same way you told me to stay out of it when I was really trying to help is the same way I'm going to stay out of it when it comes time to march. When it comes time to fix your mistake, I'm not going to step in. There's going to be no soft part of me that's like, I really should help the community right now. No, this is me helping the community right now. This is me helping the community before it spirals any further. And there's a lot of us that really do feel like, no, we're not going with you on this. But you don't want to hear any of us. You want to brand us as self-hating. We're not self-hating. We're not the ones trying to get our own shut down. We're not the ones trying to legitimately make it harder, because, well, you could say, and I will 100% say, that when it comes to children being able to transition, maybe there are some particularly mature children that are very clear about what they want, and their parents have the wherewithal to be able to get the proper assessments done and love their children enough that they really do want to look into it and see what it is they can do, the maximum that they could do for their child. And they end up discovering that their child is legitimately trans and this is the best course of action, and it really would be the most beneficial for them to start maybe a little before 18. I would still recommend against super young, but a little before 18, and they have all of the means to do this, then I think that that family should be able to make that decision for themselves. But because of the stunts that you guys are pulling right now, you're going to make it so it'll be a felony for even people in that situation to do what it is they would have to do to otherwise help their child, that they are the best ones and the most informed on how to proceed with this child's transition or what would be this child's medical needs at this point. So, like I keep saying, it's not like I'm just against these ideas and I'm just too bigoted or too small-minded to understand. I'm just saying that the way you're going about all of this is wrong, and I'm not going to be another tool in your self-sabotaging behavior. And I'm tired of people coming after me and acting like I'm somehow betraying the community by really exercising tough love and just saying, no, this isn't going to work out. So I don't know why you guys want to push it so hard, but at this point, the call is coming from inside the house. You guys are perpetuating these stereotypes about LGBT, and you think you're being cute and you think you're being funny, but you're making the rest of us look bad, and your jokes are costing a lot of innocent transsexual people their rights because people don't know the difference between transgender and transsexual, and they assume you guys are all on the same page, and that's not fair to transsexual people that for generations now have just been trying to live their lives and really don't mean any harm to anybody. Most trans people do not want to transition kids because most trans people know how difficult of a road that is. And when I was younger, the way that older trans people even came in contact with young trans people and did take that role in life where they mentored them, where they showed them the ropes and how to survive, really was in extreme situations, which in those days weren't that rare, but were extreme in the way where the trans child's parents had thrown them out. Because the kid knew that this is what they were. The parent said, there's no way you're going to be that under my roof. And they would kick them out and the kids would end up on the streets. And in that case, a lot of times an older trans person would take a completely innocent and motherly or fatherly type role to the younger trans person, because otherwise this person would just be left out on the street without anybody to watch out for them, which in those days was a lot more dangerous, not only when it came to people from the outside, but also for people that wanted to exploit you in ways that would now be considered human trafficking. Because if you know anything about human trafficking, that has only really been brought to light within the last couple of years now, but it's been happening forever. And because LGBT people back in the day were considered throwaways and nobody cared what happened to us, there were a lot of situations where we were exploited, or where we ended up in adult situations when we were way too young for that. A lot of people don't even understand with my situation. I started going to gay bars when I was 16 years old. Who do you think I was dating when I was 16 years old? That's a part of why I'm so against young people transitioning too early or being exposed to full-on gay life and gay bars too early. Like if you end up in a gay youth group or there's a gay group in your school, then I get that. If you're a trans kid and you hang out with other kids that respect you as how you identify, and you can do that in an age-appropriate way, I'm fully for that. I'm fully for anything it takes for young LGBT people to be mentally healthy, just not the physical changes. And sometimes people will be like, well, what about your face? What about the things you've done to yourself? And that's exactly why I say this. I make no secret about that. When I was younger, I got injected with silicone hanging out with trans women, because back then that was the most common thing that trans women would have done to give themselves the cheekbones and to accentuate their chins. And they'd get large amounts of silicone injected in their bodies to create the illusion of hips. They'd get silicone injected in their chest to create the illusion of breast. I've had a lot of friends suffer a lot of consequences from that because it was all black market. You see stories about trans people that had Fix-A-Flat injected into them, Mop and Glow injected into them. This was not at all uncommon. They don't even know what technically got injected into my face. It was supposed to be medical grade free-flowing silicone, but it was done by a black market doctor, and I ended up having this problem with my stuck in my face, because I had on this side where you can see that dent, I had a large ball of silicone right there. It was just like a big ball of silicone because it hadn't been injected properly, and also because scar tissue formed around what they did put in, and it wasn't even actual silicone. And some people were getting injected with automotive grade silicone, not medical grade silicone. This is all 100% true, and you can research it. And so when I say that I know, because for me, I did that at, I think I was 21 or maybe 22 when I got injected with silicone. So I was already an adult, but I wasn't given the correct information. And who knows, even if I had been given the correct information, if I would have actually paid attention to that and it would have made a change in my decision making. But either way, it was a somewhat irreversible mistake. I will always have remnants of that silicone in my face. They weren't able to get it all taken out. And if you look at it, this part of my face has nerve damage, partial paralysis. So my smile isn't even like a regular smile. And I fully accept these things about myself at this point. But to say it didn't pose problems for me when I was younger, and to say it didn't weigh on me that I had made these mistakes when I was younger, would be a huge lie. But at least I was an adult and better equipped to handle that than if I had made these mistakes when I was 13 or 15, when you feel like everything's the end of the world, and when you are more likely to self-harm or to self-delete. And that's why I say, from experience, let's let these kids grow up to be whatever it is they're gonna be, and then make those decisions as an adult. And I've been promising you guys, I'm going to go ahead and put out a full video about my experiences with gender and dysphoria and that type of stuff. But I really want that one to come out right, because I feel like that's a one shot, and I feel like it's important enough that it really does deserve my full attention, and for me to treat it with the respect that it should be treated. treated with. But understand that the things I'm saying aren't coming from a superficial place. They aren't coming from a bigoted place. They're not coming from a place of, I don't understand how any of this works and I have no personal experience with any of this. It's not about that. And that's why when I say, like, with letting kids be kids and letting kids progress at the rate that they just naturally progress and not accelerating that and putting them in positions that they're not ready for, because I've talked about this before on podcasts, but it's always hard to talk about. When I was 15, I put myself in a position where I ended up in a sexual situation that I wasn't ready for. And the person that I ended up in that situation with was 18 years old. I got drunk and I purposely put myself in this situation because in my child mind, I thought that this was a smart thing to do. And then, even though I thought I was ready for it, the 15-year-old in me took over after it had happened, and immediately after it had happened, and my head started spinning and it legitimately left me suicidal because my brain wasn't ready to handle not only the fact that I had been in that situation, but I was in that situation and I was also having to fully accept at that point that I was gay, but I wasn't ready to accept that I was gay. So I am tired of people making it seem like I just hate my own community when I care about my community a lot more than a lot of these people that are just telling other very damaged people what it is they want to hear to continue to propel them towards doing things that are destructive to the community. So it's definitely not coming from a bad place with me, even though it's easier to dismiss a person like me as having ill intent towards my own community than it is to actually listen to a person like me and take in what might be a bitter truth when everybody around you is feeding you very sweet lies. Anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.